Hello, this is Jim Ammerman, Managing Director of Wealth Planning at Fortress Wealth Management. And this lesson is going to focus on the break even for Roth conversions. So I get that question fairly often, and it's an easy answer. The break even occurs on day one. Why is that? Well, that analysis should be based on after-tax spendable assets, not pre-tax balances that have not been taxed yet. If tomorrow you withdrew the same amount from a traditional IRA as you converted, you're going to pay the same tax as what you paid on the conversion. So let's look at an example. Let's say you have $100 in a pre-tax account, such as a traditional IRA or 401k, and you have $30 in cash. Well, now you have a total of $130. If you did a Roth conversion and the tax rate combined federal and state was 30%, then you're going to be out that cash to pay for the conversion. You end up with 100 total rather than 130, which is a little concerning. And that's where the break-even conversation comes in. But you have to keep in mind, if we look at what's actually spendable, if you withdrew this IRA and 401k balance, you're going to pay tax on that withdrawal. So now you're going to be out the $30 in cash, and then you end up with 100, which is the same amount you have over here that's spendable, 100. So break even occurs right away. And that's the wrong question you should be asking. Really, what is the long-term after-tax net worth comparison? And that comparison should involve, a sophisticated financial planning analysis, utilizing the best financial planning software available, utilizing an experienced CPA, et cetera. And the software is going to look at tax calculations for every year of your life going forward. So in this example, we're using eMoney, and we can see that we've got a couple who's 54 and 50 right now, and then they keep aging, and then we have taxable assets in the next column. That's going to be like your brokerage accounts, subject to tax drag, interest, dividends, capital gains. And then we have tax deferred assets. So those are pre-tax accounts such as traditional 401k, IRA, SEP IRA, profit sharing. The distributions on those are taxable. All of it's taxable, including the growth. And then we have tax-free assets here. So that's going to be your Roth IRA and Roth 401k. Those grow tax-free, and all the distributions are tax-free, assuming you're meeting all the requirements for seasoning on those accounts. These three columns equal the total portfolio assets here. And then as a comparison, we did Roth conversions and converted all of the tax deferred assets eventually into tax-free Roth. And we have the total here of these three columns in this scenario. Notice these amounts are less than the amounts on the left. That's because we're paying the taxes early. We're prepaying those taxes. So lower amounts, we're out the tax early. But what we want to focus on is what is spendable. This column here, 8 million, is tax-free. This column here, tax deferred, 8 million. You're going to pay taxes when you pull that out. So this gap here in the bottom row is about 1.6 million when we're looking at the two portfolio total columns. But the taxes you would pay on this tax deferred column, if you were to pull that out, if the owner or the beneficiary pulls that out, you could be looking at 2.5 million to 4 million in taxes, depending on the bracket at the time of distribution for the person that's receiving the distribution. And large distributions from large accounts will cause your tax exposure to go up. You'll be in the higher brackets. And that's especially true when you consider that now inherited retirement accounts usually require distributions to occur within 10 years after the death of the owner. So distributing all of that 8 million is going to put you in very high brackets. Even if you spread that out over 10 years, you're probably looking at more towards 4 million in taxes on that 8 million. And, for some, it might work out better to convert only some of the tax deferred here in this column. But this is an example where the client was in the highest tax bracket for life, and they do not exhaust their taxable assets throughout the rest of their life. So converting all of it made sense, because that top bracket is we're pretty sure that that's going to be increasing in 2026, if not sooner. It's supposed to go from 37% federally to 39.6%. So that is why we converted all of the tax deferred here to prepare for those higher tax rates in 2026 plus. So it's going to be different for everyone. And, ideally everybody could get a detailed, careful analysis and determine what Roth strategies make the best sense for their specific situation. If you have any questions on this, or if you would like a free assessment on your particular situation, just send me an email, jim@fortress-wealth.com. Thanks.